Why is water wet? The classic "is water wet?" question. It's trickier than it sounds. Let's break it down carefully. 1. What wet means. Usually, wet describes a state of being covered or saturated with a liquid. For example, a towel is wet when water sticks to its fibers. Wetness is a sensory or relational property. Something is wet because it is in contact with a liquid. 2. Water itself. Water is a liquid. Its molecules are cohesive, stick to each other, and adhesive, stick to other surfaces. Because water sticks to itself, it forms a continuous layer. So if you're touching water, your hand is covered by water, you perceive wetness. 3. Philosophical twist. Water isn't inherently wet on its own. Wetness is what happens when a liquid interacts with a solid. In that sense, water can make things wet, but calling water itself wet is more about how we experience it than a strict physical property. So, water is wet when it touches things, but the water molecules themselves are just water. Think of wet as a relationship, not a thing. Wetness only exists between a liquid and something else. Water molecules by themselves are just molecules. They have no wetness sensor. They're not wet in isolation. They're just behaving like water. When you dip your hand into water, your hand becomes wet because the water molecules cling to it. The hand now has that relational property of being wet. So in a way, saying water is wet is like saying fire is hot. Fire causes heat, but the flame itself isn't hot in isolation. It's a process, a relationship between energy and matter. Mind twist. If you were a tiny water molecule floating alone in the universe, there'd be no wet at all. It's only when it interacts with something else that the concept of wetness appears.